Hey everyone, Tina McGlynn with another episode of Life in Stories. And today I have got Lisa McGrath all the way from Olympia, Washington, the international best-selling author and achievement coach extraordinaire. And I want to know what's going on in your life. Tell me.
Oh my gosh, thank you for that introduction. That was wonderful. Even though it's a pandemic's going on, I got my shot today, so that's a big deal. I got my first vaccine.
Good for you.
What's going on in my life? Oh my gosh, Tina, my life, I am so lucky. Can I just say that? I'm so lucky. I am so blessed. My life started out as, dysfunctional, quite frankly. It was dysfunctional. I found myself homeless at 14 years old, and I didn't have anyone to teach me how to be an adult. I had to figure it out on my own. And so I turned to books. Now, my brothers and sisters, they had the tough life too, but they didn't turn to books. And so I'm one of the few people in my family that actually graduated not only from high school, but from college and went on to get 4 degrees. I'm the only college graduate in my group. So I learned that education is real important and that it opens doors for us.
Yes.
So my story, it starts with books. Starts with books.
Love books. I used to read books all the time. When I was a teenager, I struggled. So my books were my escape, Lisa.
Yeah. Exactly. Well, you can use books not only for learning, but to escape. But imagine being able to, well, first of all, when I was growing up, and I didn't have YouTube, I didn't have Google, I didn't have any of those things. So I had to find something, and we didn't have podcasts. We didn't have, computers or cell phones or anything. So I went to the only thing I could find, and the safety of a library.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And so it was a safe place for me. And so as a teenager, when I got emancipated, I had to pay my own bills. I had my own little apartment. And there were times I couldn't pay my bills to keep my heat on. I would spend my time after school, because I stayed in school, I would go to the library because it was warm. And I would read. And it was free.
Yeah. And warm.
And warm. So I would read. And so I learned quite a bit from books. And so all of these people and the authors of these books became my mentors, my coaches. So I started with Wayne Dyer and Louise Hay from Hay House. And I continued on, and I followed the people that I believed were doing it right, because I thought my family had done it wrong.
Yeah.
That's why we're ending, And so I realized that in all of my reading, and then my education supported it, my hypotheses, that our thoughts are very important, because our thoughts will lead to our feelings, and our feelings lead to our actions or inaction. And so until we can learn to reframe our thoughts, we may not be living in a world that is not quite reality. We believe it's reality for us, but no, it's not reality. So I really learned a lot about mindset, about putting together and really knowing my belief systems, my values, because I didn't want those values that my parents and those adults that were telling me I wasn't good enough, or that I wasn't going to amount to anything.
Right. So you manifested. I
manifest. Right?
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I still manifest. I teach a vision boarding class, and I call it the self-portrait vision board, because that's what you're doing, is you're looking, it's not just stuff you want. Let's face it, there comes a time in your life you're going to realize, I have enough stuff. I want more experiences. For me, I wanted a family. So a lot of times when you look at my different vision boards, because I did save many of them, there's people on them because I wanted people in my life. I wanted family. And I wanted a family that I didn't have. And so one of the things that I've learned, and actually it's only been in the last 10 years or so, is that I can really choose the people I let into my inner circle.
Yes.
And they can become my family. And so sometimes I'll have a habit of sometimes joking and saying, oh, I'm going to call you my sister. Well, I might say that, but I really want that person to be my sister. I really want to invite that person in to my inner circle. So that means I want to be able to tell you things without you turning around and blabbing them to the world.
Yeah.
I want to be there for you if you need a shoulder or you want to celebrate something. That's what, to me, that's what it's about. And so when I first met you, again, there's certain people, you meet them and you know, hey, we're sisters. This person is a good one. And so I appreciate that.
Yeah. The intuition, I really listen to my intuition, and I have an affinity to people who struggled in their childhood, like me. And so how did you write your book? What your latest book? Tell me about that.
Okay, so my latest book is called A House with Four Rooms.
I love
Physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual.
Oh, good.
Being. Okay. So I'm gonna take you back in some time, and it's been over 25 years. Again, I was reading a book by Rumor Godden, and she shared a little. There was a little clip, and it said this Indian proverb, and the Indian proverb is a house with four rooms, and it says that each of us should think of ourselves as having four rooms: the physical room,
like that,
mental, emotional, and spiritual. And it says we need to be a complete person. You need to go into each one of these rooms daily to do something to be a complete person. You don't have to spend a lot of time. Matter of fact, it cautions us. You don't have to spend any length of time in any one room over another, but you do have to go in all four, even if it's just to open a window to air it out.
Oh, I like that.
Okay. So isn't this great? So now you start thinking about it, and it even warns us that the emotional room is a room that a lot of people, especially women, get stuck in.
Yes, I agree.
Okay. And so when you get stuck in that room, oftentimes, and I can say from personal experience for myself, but also for the clients that I've worked with, you stay in there and you want to put the blankets over your head and you don't even want to face the day. Well, you can't do that. And so one of the practices that I teach is a journaling practice, a gratitude journal. And and it starts out with 5 things. At the end of the day, I know I'm going to write down 5 things I'm grateful for that day. Now, when I was in bed and wanting to put the covers over my head, or in my victimhood, living in that.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't want to go, out, but I had to, because I'd say, Lisa, you need to get out of this bed because you got to go find those 5 things. You've made a promise to yourself to write down 5 things, and you're not going to find them here. Get up and get out. And so that's how I started making sure I did my life. And now even Mel Robbins has a book out, that 5-second rule, where you don't want to get out of bed. You go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, blast off, you're out of that bed. And whenever you don't want to do something, it's the 5-second rule. And so I've been practicing that for years. Okay.
Wow.
And so I go out there and I had to find my 5 things that I needed to write down at the end of the day. And so I've taught this philosophy of the Indian proverb in prisons, to my clients.
Oh, great place.
To my clients in my coaching programs, to lots of students over the years. And it's just part of the pillars of how the foundation of my coaching practice and how I live my life. I visit each one of those 4 rooms every day. Now, keep in mind, as a wife and a mother, I didn't do that. I took care of everybody else but me.
Everybody else. Typical, right?
But that's what I thought I was supposed to do. Keep in mind, I didn't have a mom really growing up. I didn't know how to be an adult, but I did know I was going to be a good mom and I was going to be a good wife. And I also had TV. So I'm watching June Cleaver and even Mrs. Brady on the Brady Bunch. But I'm watching these people be the mom and the wife. And I thought, okay, so that's the life I'm going to have, right? So I worked really hard to have that. And it didn't end that way. So as much as I kept working and working and working to really manifest that, some things are out of our control.
Yes.
And so that's
absolutely
when you have to realize that the thing that is within our control is how we're going to choose to respond.
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
Totally. Absolutely agree.
So, you started out by asking about stories. So I'm going to tell you a story. So when I was really going through, I had a tough childhood. Yes, I did. I got married. I thought, because I was told by my favorite English teacher in high school, I told him I was going to be an author. And he told me, you're a girl, you're supposed to get married and have children, and raise a family.
You can do all of that.
And so that's what I did.
Yeah.
Right. And so I put my dreams on hold, put my dreams on the shelf. Well, I had a friend when I was in the midst of my separation, because my marriage had been great, but then because of alcohol and drug abuse, it changed, because he became a man that I wasn't married to.
Yeah, I see a lot of that, as you know, with my foundation.
Yeah. So he became someone else. So it was one of the ways that I describe my life is that I used to love to do jigsaw puzzles.
Yeah.
And so when I would start, I had the picture in the box, and I always started with the frame, right? And then I'd put the colors together and I'd build this puzzle. Well, that's what I was doing. I was building this beautiful life and this family that I wanted. That was the picture on the box. But he came along and he took his arm and he smashed the puzzle to the floor.
Yes. Yeah, that's a good metaphor.
And now I have to pick this puzzle back up. So I go to pick my puzzle back up, and it's all broken. I'm putting it back on the table, right? Because I got to build a new life. Well, now I don't have a picture on the box. I don't know what to build. I've been a mom. My kids have grown up. They're leaving home. What's that about? I mean,
right.
and so now it's like, what do I want? And it took me a long time to realize this is my time to find my purpose. And that's what this new book, A House with 4 Rooms, does. It helps people find their purpose. I had to set personal and professional goals. It helps you align those personal and professional goals with your purpose and with your values and your belief system. It helps you identify what it is you want your life to be, an intentional life. And then as an achievement coach, it's part memoir, part guide. This book helps you determine how to do it. And what I love is I put a link in the book for a free gift. It's a companion workbook.
Ooh,
and so, yeah, it's a downloadable.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah. And so it has journal prompts, because I believe in writing, right? I'm an author, a teacher. So there's journal prompts and exercises to help people really zero in on, who am I? And who do I want to be? What do I value? What do I want to achieve? And then as an achievement coach, I've achieved the things that I put before myself because I work hard. And I also
enjoy it. You enjoy what you do.
I enjoy what I do, but I have it aligned my purpose with my purpose. So right now I'm on a mission to help individuals. And I'm going to be honest, most of my clients are women, but I want, that's why I wrote this book, to get it out there. I want to reach more people so that they understand when you take the stone and you drop it in the water, you know how it ripples?
Yeah. Yeah.
I want to be that stone. And I want to inspire other people to really ripple with kindness, ripple with love. Find that self-love, because when you do, you can then give it to other people. Find that self-worth within yourself, that value, and then it ripples out to other people.
Love it. Love, love, love. I'm in your ripple.
Oh, yes, you are good.
I'm definitely in your ripple. So we were talking before, what I also wanted to talk about, you have a class about, like, there's a lot of people who want to be an author, want to write a story, but they're stuck. And you can help them with that too, with part, and that's you call, achievement coach. That's, some people want to achieve being an author. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, I'm really excited about this. Yeah. So I have Pages with Purpose.
I love that name.
Yeah, pageswithpurpose.org. Because here's the thing, Tina, and you already know this. Everyone has a story.
Yeah.
But not everyone feels like they have a voice. Yeah. They don't know how to tell their story. Now, there were a lot of years that I kept my story quiet because that's what I was told to do. And I learned I had to make my message my message, my message. And that was because I had a major health scare in 2015. I almost died from bilateral pulmonary emboli.
Oh, wow. I know what that is. Yes.
Yeah, had to have a emergency open heart surgery.
Wow. Okay.
They didn't expect me to live. And I can remember telling the thoracic cardio surgeon, I said, I had faith in him, but I said, you know why I'm here? Because he said, I don't know. He didn't know why I lived. And I said, I know why, because God's not done with me yet.
Good. Yep.
There's more for me to do. And before I had gone under, I had said, God, I don't think you're done with me. And if if I live, I'm going to make my message, because there's people out there struggling just like I was. They're on those same paths. And they need to know that I'm just a regular person. I survived, that I made things happen, and I'm going to continue to make things happen. So can they. Yeah. And sometimes, Tina, all we need is a mentor, a coach to help us get to where we need to be. So I created the writing, publishing, and marketing class. It's 6 weeks.
Okay.
And what it does is it helps you craft your story for professional purposes, to help be the ripple, to get your message out and help inspire other people. So in the first 3 weeks, I teach you about writing and capturing your voice and your story. And then I teach you how to revise it and edit it and to really hone in on that message. And then in the 4th week, they actually get to submit the corrected piece, their chapter, for my anthology, Pages with Purpose. It's an international best-selling book. And then we put those together, and I use their chapters to teach them how to publish, how to make social media posts, how to do email sequences, and then how to market it to get their message out there.
Wow. Love it.
And it's all about that. It's that mission of wanting to change the world and make things positive. And so it's just,
I want to hug you.
It's been awesome. And and it's not a lot of money, because that's not what it's about.
Yeah.
It's the value of being that stone and teaching other people to be that stone and allow their ripple.
Yeah, because I love that. Because we could all use a cheerleader or a mentor or coach. I never think anybody is above needing coaching.
That's right. That's right.
We're not all perfect. We're not robots. We're not machines. We all have a human element. We all have a weakness. When anybody tells me they don't have a weakness, I'm like, you're not being true to yourself.
You're not being true. Yeah. And I mean, and so even as a coach, I have coaches, and I have more than one coach. I have several business coaches. I've been teaching writing for over 20 years.
Wow.
I've been teaching writing, but I have a writing coach. I have a book coach. When I first went to go, and I'm still writing my memoir, A Pilgrimage to Self, I went with...
I love your titles.
Thank you.
Titles. You're a wordsmith.
Oh, yeah, thank you. I started working with Hay House, a big publishing company. Again, I said that Louise Hay was one of my mentors.
Okay.
And so Reed Tracy is the CEO over there. And so I'm taking this course, and Reed Tracy tells us you have to have a platform. And it's like, I just want to write this book. And you're gonna have to market it. I'm like, I don't want to market it. I just want to write this book. And so I just want to help people. I just want to teach them that a pilgrimage is a journey, right? Going within and connecting to that physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual being, and making sure you're a complete person and healthy. And so that memoir that I'm still in the process of is about the spiritual journeys I've had, pilgrimages across northern Spain on the Camino de Santiago.
Oh, and so cool.
Yeah. So I took all of the lessons, the life lessons and the lessons that I learned on those spiritual pilgrimages, and I apply them to my life. And I show that, wow, because we have more in common than what separates us, right?
Yeah. Yes. Totally. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So
if people are open-minded, yes.
Yes. And so I think these gems, that these lessons, they're gonna help other people too. So I'm excited about being a stone and letting it ripple. Yep. Uh-oh, I can't hear you.
Oh, sorry. I have a siren coming through, and I'm trying to be respectful here. I just love the ripple metaphor, because that's humanity. You know what I mean? When people touch others and put out good, and and share their wealth, share their knowledge, share their expertise, share their skills, whatever it is, share their stories, you always touch someone, and someone may hear that, or see what you're doing, and and say, if Lisa can crawl out of that, I can do it too. If you have the way of sharing, going through trauma, and coming out on the other side and making something positive, it's a beautiful thing.
Yes, it is. And so, I mean, something that I've learned along the way, and some people don't agree with me, but this is from my experience in education, is that we can't control other people.
No.
And so even as a mom and a grandmother, and now I'm a great grandmother.
I know, I'm just so jealous. We had to get a rescue because we don't have grandkids yet.
But one of the things that I learned is that as a parent, you do the best you can.
Yeah.
And we give our children these, I used to call them building blocks. We teach them right from wrong, look both ways before crossing the street. And we teach them all of these things. Again, these are things no one taught me. I had to learn myself. And so I could call them building blocks. And so when my children were there, I was going to teach them these building blocks and give them to them. And so that's what I did. And as a teacher, I do the same thing. As a mentor coach, I do the same thing. I think of these building blocks. But here's what I realized. Even from my own children, I can give them these building blocks and teach them right from wrong, but I can't teach them what to build.
Right.
So
or you shouldn't. Yeah,
that's
you shouldn't. Yeah.
That's right. And so now my children, who raised with the same household, the same rules, the same everything, right?
Yeah.
They're different. They're totally different kids.
Yeah.
And they're totally building different things. Now, one's going down a path I wish hadn't happened, but that was his choices. And unfortunately, he's got consequences with those choices.
Yeah.
And so now, thankfully, he's been clean, and he's celebrating his sobriety. Matter of fact, he's now become a sponsor to someone else.
Oh, good. No, I love the, as you know, my work with the Kate Foundation. I love any kind of successes like that.
Yeah. And so I just always keep him in, my thoughts and prayers, and realize that I gave you these building blocks. Of course, I call him my child and my son, and he is, and he's my baby, but he's also in his 40s. So I don't have control, right? And that's what I realized. You know what? You give them the building blocks, but what they choose to build is their business.
It is. And I'm glad that you were able to realize that, because I was just talking to someone and, talking about what I went through with my daughter. It took me a long time to get there. And I have to guide parents that call the Kate Foundation with the same thing. It's not your fault as a parent if your child, even adult child, ends up with mental health challenges. It is what it is, and you have to definitely move away, from that guilt. And I'm sure through your writing and through your coaching, you should feel a sense of, what, I'm a good teacher and I'm a good mentor. But even with your students and with your clients, you still can't control their outcome. You give them the tools, but if they leave the toolbox on the floor, you did the part.
Exactly. Yeah. And so, so it took a long time for me to understand that, as not only a mother, and then maybe that's why I pursued my education, to find out, why my parents were like how they were, the adults in my life back then. But I also realized that as individuals, we have choices.
Yes.
And there are consequences to our choices. So,
oh, yes, there are.
And so, but we learn that, and sometimes some of us choose harder lessons than others. And when we can learn from other people's experiences, we have a chance to survive ourselves. We have a chance to blossom and again, make it so that other people hear our message, they hear our faith and our commitment, and they know that we are enough. We can solve these problems that have come to us by being truthful, by being whole, and by being supportive. By being supportive. Reminds me of a man that I studied with. He was a psychologist. Maybe he's a psychiatrist. I don't remember. But Dr. somebody. Yeah, Dr. somebody. But something happened. So, and as marriages tend to do, he was separated. He was getting divorced, and so he didn't have anything except a little one-room apartment that he rented because the wife had everything in the kid. But one of the things that he and his little boy did is they liked baseball. And so he got some kind of tickets to some baseball game. And so they were looking for, it was something for them to look forward to, right? Yeah. So he goes it's his weekend. He goes to pick up the little boy and he says to him and gets to the car. He goes, I forgot the tickets in my apartment. We're just going to ride by there. We're going to get the tickets or whatever it was. He had to go run by the apartment to pick up something. Maybe it wasn't the tickets. It was something, but they needed. So anyways, he says, look, we're going to run by the apartment and we're going to go. And then we'll go to the baseball game and we're going to get hot dogs or, the whole 10 yards. Well, as they get closer to the apartment, the fire trucks are there and his apartment building is on fire.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. And so he looks down at the boy and the boy's like, just beside himself. And this father looks down at the kid and he says, well, we didn't need that. Let's go anyway. Let's get to the game because we don't want to miss the first inning. And the little boy said, but Papa, the house. And this is when he turned and he looked at all of us and he said, and I told my son, I can't do anything about the fire. It's already done. It's happening. But I can do something right now in this moment. And that's to keep the promise to you to go to the game. We've been planning it. We're going. We'll deal with this after the game. And he taught me about being in the moment.
Yes.
And so I can't change what my children or whatever happened in my past. I can't change that, but I can change how I think about it. And I can reframe it so that I can learn from it and I can move on, but not just on, I have to move forward with it, with all the lessons that it teaches me. And then there's that stone, I can let that lesson ripple.
And, I say something similar. I just say, just make tomorrow better than today, or definitely better than yesterday. But, and to conclude, where can people find your book, first of all?
Well, A House with Four Rooms is available on Amazon. So it's an ebook form right now. And again, there's a link for the free gift, the companion workbook that's inside the book. I'm not quite sure. I have to check again with the publisher for when it's going to be in print. But
send me the link. Yeah.
So it's in the ebook form. And it's just real exciting that this is just another way to get the message out there.
Yeah. And what about how can people contact you about the coaching class?
With the Pages with Purpose? Yeah, that's it. www.pageswithpurpose.org. And there's information there. Again, it's just another way of getting stories out there. Another way to get our messages out there and to be professional about it.
Love it. Well, thank you so much, Lisa, for spending time with me all the way from Washington. We're literally from one end of the country to the other because I'm in Tampa, Florida.
That's right. And I used to live in Tampa, Florida a long time ago.
Okay. Yeah. Love it here. Love it. But thank you. And, everyone, thank you for listening. This is Tina McGlynn with another episode of Life and Stories. And tune in next time for who knows who I'm going to have. I'm going to keep it a secret. And, check out Lisa's links on the bottom. It'll be down in the bottom of the post on our YouTube and then our Facebook page. Have a great day, everyone. Bye.